The home of the common Joe and the common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads.
Looks like some of those Pac-12 elitist wannabes might have a little bit of egg on their face. Most notably Tony Douche Nozzle Altamore and some of our commenters and listeners out there as well, not to name any names, but Western Civic Boy, who made a $200 bet with me that this deal was going to be great and that nobody would leave the Pac-12 conference. Well, we shall soon see whether he's going to pay up on that bet or not, because I'm betting that Colorado's not going to be too happy with this deal, and then Arizona's going to follow suit. Because from what the reports are saying from Greg Swaim and numerous other outlets like Sportskeeda, it seems like the Pac-12 deal falls very, very well far short of what George Kliavkoff had promised. And the summer of George that he decreed was upon us looks like the summer of disaster. Let's talk about it. Well, looky what we have here. It's another episode of, that's right, the Outlaw of College Football. That's right, and here they come once again, the Outlaw Posse, riding on in. The Outlaw Posse is now in effect. And I can also be reached on Twitter at OCF Productions. And today's Four Horsemen shout-outs go to J.D. Wilmoth, Billy Townsend, Storm 4601, and That Christian Fam channel. By the way, that's a great channel. If you want to get your religious take on some stuff, that's the channel to go to. Now, getting right to it here. Seems like George Kliavkoff and all that kicking the can down the road is finally going to catch up to him. You know, again, been pushing this off and pushing it back and pushing it back. And I talked about this a few episodes back. And they finally got a deal. They finally got a deal, supposedly, according to Greg Swaim and Sportskeeda. It says the Pac-12 deal stumbles $12 million less than the Big 12 and only 20% linear coverage. That's nowhere near what the Big 12 got. And they claimed they were going to get something a lot better than the Big 12. It goes on to say that they were offered Tuesday and Wednesday night games by the CW. The best thing I ever seen on CW was reruns of Married with Children. And they were going to take it? I mean, have they really moved down to the status of the MAC and the Conference USA and the Mountain West? I don't even think the Mountain West is that bad, are they? The Mountain West may end up taking over the Pac-12 if things keep going the way they're going. Because I have a feeling that now Colorado is really going to be amping it up. Their boosters and the major players at the Colorado program, they're really going to be pushing now for them to join the Big 12 after this debacle by Greg Kliavkoff. It goes on to say summer of George, it was bragged about, and now the deal is going to be a lot less. The Pac-12 is low compared to other Power 5 schools because of the USC and UCLA thing, which that's a Captain Obvious thing. And like I just mentioned, Colorado has been making a lot of noise. So it probably hurt them as far as getting a TV deal, because the other people out there that were considering it, maybe ESPN picking up some games and whatnot, maybe even Fox, they keep hearing those rumblings that the Colorado boosters and those people that have a lot of influence over Colorado athletics are really pushing hard to go to the Big 12. So now going forward, what's the Pac-12 to do? If this TV deal is not sufficient for a lot of these other schools, and I have a feeling that it's not, what are they going to do? What's the NCAA going to do with them? What's college football in general going to do with the Pac-12? Well, what I really think is going to happen is once Colorado leaves, and I think they will leave now, especially with this crappy of a TV deal with the CW on Tuesday and Wednesday nights, I think once Colorado leaves, like I said in the previous podcast, it's going to cause a domino effect. And I definitely think Arizona will leave as well. If Arizona State and Utah do not come and they stay with the Pac-12, I think they're making a huge mistake and a disservice to their fans and their alumni out there. Oregon and Washington, two other big names. I definitely think at that point the Big Ten, who supposedly don't want blood on their hands, even though they know they're the ones that fired the first shot at the Pac-12, and as far as putting them down, they may not have shot them right in the head or in the heart, but they hit them pretty hard in a major artery when they took USC and UCLA. And once Colorado and Arizona go to the Big 12, which I think they will, that'll give the Big 10 a green light, and they won't feel so bad about themselves when they take Oregon and Washington to give them that Western branch out there that'll make things easier for USC and UCLA as far as travel and logistics go. Now, USC, I've heard, don't really want Oregon or Washington to come on board. They want to have some kind of little something or another over these programs so they can basically beat them in recruiting, because we all know Oregon, especially Oregon, has been coming into California and taking USC's lunch money quite a bit. Not to mention quite a few other teams that we've talked about ad nauseum. There was supposed to be a wall around California once that prophet, that savior of USC football, that being the false prophet Linky Boy, went out there to USC. They were supposed to close off the borders of California, but it hasn't worked out that way. So, going forward, I think what's going to happen here, we're going to have Colorado's going to leave, Arizona's going to follow, and I think Arizona State and Utah are smart enough to realize that they probably need to come too. At that point, Oregon and Washington will join the Big Ten, and I think the Pac-12 will be no more. If they are, they'll be in name only, and they will lose their Power 5 status at that point. You guys and gals, tell me what you think about all this. Do you think it was a good deal? Do you think that maybe we're overreacting to them being $12 million less than the Big 12 and having to be on the CW network on Tuesday and Wednesday nights? Drop in the comment section and let me know what you think. Also, if you don't mind, if you want to get your Four Horsemen shout out, get your badge, get your deputization, all you got to do is hit that join button next to the subscribe button. It's only $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. Also, there's a little heart down here, a little dollar sign in the middle. You can hit that for a one-time donation if you want to do that as well. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. That always helps, and that's free. And as always, KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.